Okay, class, we're about to start section 5.4, dividing decimals. Okay, section A, dividing a decimal by a whole number. If you simply keep the decimal points lined up, this works just like regular long division. A note about remainders. We never leave a remainder when we are dividing decimals. Instead, one of three things happens. Okay, we scroll down here. In the number you are dividing into, after decimal point, you can keep adding zeros to the end of the number until the division comes out evenly, just like we have here. So your answer here would just be 3.625. Okay, next, we go to the second area. It says, in the number you are dividing into, after decimal point, you can keep adding zeros to the end of the number until the pattern becomes clear. Okay, so what happens is this here. We keep adding our zeros. And if you notice here, we see a pattern here. First we added 36, and now we're getting another 36. And it's safe to assume that we will have another 36. But the repeating decimal, which will be the 36s, you always put your repeating decimal bar over the first time it comes up. I don't know why it jumped to the bottom here, but it keeps stacking to the bottom. But there it is down here. It's 1.1, and then we have the bar, the repeating decimal bar over the 36. Now the last thing is this deals with rounding. You may be told to round your answer to a certain number of decimal places. Like here it said round to the nearest tenth. Now what you do is this here. Whenever it tells you to round, you always go one place value past where it tells you to round to. Like it told you to round to the nearest tenth. You notice we went to the hundredths place here. We don't go any further. So when we go to this hundredths place, we determine if we're going to add 1 to the previous place value or we're going to leave it the same and drop everything behind it. 7 falls in between that 5 to 9, where we will add 1 to this place value, and our answer will end up being 3.4. And remember, we cannot have any digits past that place value, so it'll just be 3.4. Now, for these problems here, we have 338.4 divided by 8. It tells us to estimate first. We don't need to estimate first. We could just go right into the problem. So I'm just going to cross out these estimate boxes. Now, what we need to do first is this here. We would take 8 into 338.4. And then we would bring our decimal up. Now 8 goes into 33 4 times. 4 times 8 is 32. And you have 1. So you bring down your 8. 8 goes into 18 twice. 2 times 8 is 16. Now I'm going to have to go across the page here. Well, no, I don't. I could say minus 16. 18 minus 16 is 2, and we'll bring down our 4. Now 8 goes into 24 3 times. 3 times 8 is 24, and you don't have a remainder. So your final answer here would be 42.3. Remember, you must add that decimal there. So it's 42.3. Now we go on to problem number 2. It's already set up for us. So what we need to do here is we need to bring this decimal up. So now 25 goes into 19 0 times. But 25 goes into 196 7 times. 7 times 25 is 175. 6 minus 5 is 1. 9 minus 7 is 2. And we add a 0 here. Got to extend that line. So we bring down to 0. 25 goes into 210 8 times. 8 times 25 is 200. 210 minus 200 leaves you 10. So we have to add one more 0 and bring it down. 25 goes into 100 4 times. So 4 times 25 is 100, and you have no remainder. So your final answer here would be 0.784. And that is your final answer for number 2. Now we're going to scroll down here. We go down here to number 3. Again, we're going to cross out this estimate box for 3 and also for 4. Okay, now we would take 6 into 23.15. And we'll bring up our decimal. 6 goes into 23 3 times. 3 times 6 is 18. 23 minus 18 is 5. You bring down your 1. 6 goes into 51 8 times. 8 times 6 is 48. 51 minus 48 is 3. And you bring down your 5. And just to show how we got 3, we'll borrow 1 from this 5, make it a 4. And this 1 will become 11, because we cannot subtract 8 from 1. 11 minus 8 is 3. 4 minus 4 is 0. That's how you get to 3. And we bring down our 5. 6 goes into 35 5 times. So we add 35 minus 30, which leaves us 5. Now we add a 0 here. We bring this 0 down. 6 goes into 50 8 times. 8 times 6 is 48. And 50 minus 48 is 2. Now again, we borrow 1 from this 5, make this a 4, and this 0 becomes a 10. 10 minus 8 is 2. 4 minus 4 is 0. We have to add another 0 here. 6 goes into 20 3 times. 3 times 6, we know is 18. So now we subtract 18, and now we have a 2. We add another 0. 6 goes into 20 3 times again, and then we'll keep repeating it. So our final answer here would be 3.858, and since the 3's will be repeating, we would just take the first 3 and put a repeating decimal bar over that 3. We would not write 33 and put a decimal bar on it, because all the other 3's match up with this 3. So that is your final answer for that problem. Now, getting here to number 4. It tells us round the answer to the nearest thousandths. So we need to go to the 10,000ths place to see if we round up or keep the answer the same. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to separate this a little bit. And I'm going to go 13 into 0 point. Now this 4 is in a tenths place. This 2 is in a hundredths place. This 6 is in a thousandths place. So we have to add a 0 to put it in the 10,000ths place. Now we bring up our decimal. We know that this is 0 because 13 doesn't go on a 0. 13 doesn't go on a 4 either. So that's another 0. But 13 can go into 42 3 times. 3 times 13 is 39. 42 minus 39, we borrow 1 from the 4, that'll make it a 3. And this 2 will become 12. 12 minus 9 is 3. 3 minus 3 is 0. So we bring down this 6. 13 goes into 36 twice. 2 times 13 is 26. 36 minus 26 is 10. And you bring down your 0. 13 goes into 100 7 times. 7 times 3 is 21. Down your 1, carry your 2. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 2 is 9. So 100 minus 91 is 9, and we could stop here. Now we need to round to the nearest thousandths. Now this 2 is in the thousandths place. So we look to the right of it. The right of it, it has a 7. So that means we're going to add 1 to this 2. So then our final answer here would be 0.033. And remember, we do not go past the place value we're rounding to. Since we're rounded to the thousandths place, our answer ends at the thousandths place. Now we scroll down to section B. It says dividing a decimal by a decimal. So it says consider the division problem. 12.9 divided by 1.5. We expect an answer between 6 and 12, since 12 divided by 2 is equal to 6, and 12 divided by 1 is 12. We don't have to do that. That's the rounding that they're talking about, and we don't have to do that. I want to show you all how to do this without doing this fraction that they decided to put in this problem. We could take, again, it was 12.9 divided by 1.5. So we could put the 1.5 out front and the 12.9 under the division bar. Okay, now, the number that we have out front here cannot be a decimal. So we have to move this decimal to the right until this becomes an integer. So we will only have to move this one place. And now this would be 15. Now whatever we do on the outside, we must do on the inside too. So we move that one place. So it'd be 15 into 129. Now I suggest you add a decimal at the end and maybe 2 zeros. We may not need them, but just in case. So we bring our decimal up. 15 goes into 129. Let's see, it would have to be 8 times. 8 times 5 is 40. Carry a 4. 8 times 1 is 8 plus 4 is 12. 129 minus 120 is 9. And then you bring down a 0. 15 goes into 90 6 times. 6 times 15 is 90. So it's 0, so it's no remainder. We didn't need the second 0, but we did need the first one. So our final answer here is 8.6. Now we scroll down. I want us to try one more. Now what I'm going to do is this here. Since my page is a little off, I'm going to draw a line here to separate this. But I'm going to start this problem up here. So I'll put the 0.35 here. And our division bar, which would be 2.618. Now to make this into an integer, we need to move 2 places to the right. And we have to move 2 places to the right here as well. So it'll be 35 into 261.8. Now we bring up our decimal. Now I would suggest add another 0 here. Okay, 35 goes into 261. Let's see, it looks like it goes 7. Yes, it looked like it goes 7 times. Now you could always go off to the side and figure this out as well. 7 times 5 is 35. Carry a 3. 7 times 3 is 21 plus 3 is 24. 261 minus 245 will give you 16. And you will bring down your 8. 35 goes into 168 4 times. 4 times 35 is 140. 168 minus 140 is 28. And we'll bring down our 0. Now, 35 goes into 280 8 times. 8 times 5 is 40. You carry your 4. 8 times 3 is 24. Plus 4 is 28. 280 minus 280 is 0. So your final answer here is 7.48. Now again, you could go off to the side to get the number that will go into it evenly. The reason why I knew that 8 was the answer here was because 4 times 35 gave us 140, and that's half of 280. So that means I just needed to double that. That's how I got the 280.